You're listening to 101.1 FM WOPP IP WDRV IP WALE IP Providence. I'm your co-host, Dhruv.
And I'm your co-host, Alejandro Jackson.
And this is the Outta Pocket Podcast,
where we pull conversation topics out of our pocket.
And occasionally go out of pocket.
Welcome back to the Outta Pocket Podcast. We hope you're doing well. Happy middle of October.
Now keep going.
That's crazy. No, I'm not gonna lie. I threw myself off with that. Broski stood. They can stand.
That's true, actually. That's the first time we've ever said. Now you know what my legs look like.
That's crazy. Bro has legs.
Pump going on.
Bruh.
Fit check.
To the fact that it's the middle of October.
I hear you. I hear you so hard. Like, as we just got here, bro. Just got here.
Shit tragic.
Yeah. Halloween's coming up.
I know, it is.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm too busy to even think about it right now.
Bro, it's on a Tuesday. Nobody cares.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Gone are the days of Halloween. That shit was iconic.
Yeah, we had it for, last year was on a Monday, but, still, yeah. Anyway, we won't bore you. We have quite the episode. On today's show, we are revisiting our segment, Bracket Brawls. The last one...
Been a minute since we did one of
these.
Was
a while ago. We are going to be comparing 8 different whimsical worlds. Oh my god, he said the thing. And debating which one...
Fantastical realms, if you would.
Yeah. And, you can't get rid of the alliteration,
my bad.
Every Bracket Brawls episode.
Fantastical.
Festive flicks. Classroom chaos.
What's a synonym for worlds?
That's a good quote. Wow, that starts with F?
Yeah. No.
Fantastical firmaments.
Firmaments is a crazy guy. I would have just said fields or some shit.
Low key, I might the episode name might be changed. So you know what? I renege my he said the thing statement from before. Dhruv just said the thing, bro. But we will be debating which one comes out on top.
Just gathered some of our favorite fictional worlds, universes that we, media we've consumed, just pop culture in general. We're going to rank them based on the following criteria.
Yes. So we have lore building, livability. So, like...
Would you want to live in this world?
Would you want to live there?
If you were an average person.
Yeah. The fan base, which is more for the fun of it. Aesthetic and influence.
Fan base is fully an excuse for me to clown on some nerds.
That's crazy. And tiny drum roll. I don't know. I can maybe edit it in if I'm not. Anyway,
you got it right there.
The worlds that we will be, bracketing today. First off, I could just go in order of. Actually, how do I want to do this? Should I go? No, I'll just go in order of how they're listed. So first off, Harry Potter. Second, Star Wars. Third, we have DC. So DC Comics. Fourth is Percy Jackson, a sleeper, low-key. But if you were...
If you grew up in our generation, ya tu sabes.
Yeah, you know. Number 5, we have Avatar: The Last Airbender. Not the blue ones. The cartoon.
The real one.
James Cameron. Open up. I'm about to put y'all on a submarine.
No way. Oh, man.
Number 6, we have Lord of the Rings. 7, we have Marvel Comics. And 8, we have Skyrim. Really the Elder Scrolls. But I think Skyrim is probably the most well-known and popular of the Elder Scrolls.
So,
let's get into
it. Yeah, we gotta be speedy. We got a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah.
So the system we're gonna use is we're just gonna take a straw poll on any head-to-head sort of combat, or any lineup we've got. If we agree, that's cool. We talk about it for a little bit and we move on. If we disagree, we each get, let's say, like a minute to 90 seconds to present our arguments, and then we straw poll again.
All right.
All right. Shuffle. Are you gonna shuffle it up? Or
I already did.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So first up, Harry Potter and Skyrim.
So this is a problem because I don't know too much about Skyrim. So
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Harry Potter. All right, fair enough. You go first because I want to learn about Skyrim first.
Bro, I got hella hours on Skyrim. Skyrim is in my top 5 games of all time. So am I biased? Hell yeah. But do I care? Hell no. You're about to hear about my spiel. Right off the bat, bro, they constructed an entire language just for the game. Like, broski. Yeah. They cooking. I know you've heard Fus Roda. Bro, that was like the biggest meme of like...
That's true.
Dude, I don't know.
Fus Roda.
Yeah, and like, I don't know. So, where should I start? In terms of lore building, so... One of the reasons why, earlier I said, the Elder Scrolls opposed to Skyrim is because Skyrim is actually, if I'm not mistaken,
5, right?
The 5th game in the Elder Scrolls series, which means there are 5 different games of like lore and world building, and I think that there's such great continuity between them. Like in Skyrim, they'll be like, oh yeah, like, they reference the events of Oblivion, which like happened like thousands of years before the game. And the way it works is each, so the overarching like continent is called Tamriel, and Skyrim is a like country, or I guess maybe the world is called. No, it's the continent is Tamriel, I'm pretty sure, and like Skyrim's like a country, or like it's a pretty big country, and like. And then there's like, a bunch of the other ones. I don't remember their names, but don't worry. Mm-hmm. And there's like different races and whatever, right? It's like, it's the typical RPG. But I think that for me, between just the continuity, the fact that they created their own language, the fact that every game's plot is like so substantive yet independent of the others. And also, like, this is kind of moving on to the next criteria of livability. I think, in my opinion, it is a lot... okay, maybe not true. It depends. Okay, I guess this moves into, like, what do we want to paint livability as? Because if we want livability to be sort of, like, what is your chance to, like, enter the world and then, like, make something of yourself, I guess? Mm-hmm. I feel like I could kind of argue it for Skyrim, because I feel like, and maybe this is in part by nature of the story of Harry Potter, and I can't, it's not like we can change things, but I feel like Harry Potter plays into this a lot of the idea of like destiny and the chosen one, which Skyrim kind of does as well. At the same time, if we're taking the Elder Scrolls series, I think it is a lot more like. You could become a honestly whatever you want. That, and this is a complete sidetrack, but that's one of the things I love about Skyrim is that there's basically 3 kind of main classes. It's like your typical sword and shield. There's the mage, and then like the like hunter, or like the stealthy character. But the thing is, you can like mix and match them. Mm-hmm. In like any way you choose, and so when I played it for the first time, I was like a Night Stalker, which is like, it's like a bit of assassin, or it's assassin, not hunter, but like it's basically a bit of assassin, and also like a mage, and like there's just so many like there's spells that cause enemies to like attack each other, and you like you can be very strategic. There's like weapons which have like. Just like hella lore behind them. I don't know, man. I could talk about this forever. I need to like.
Yeah. We're a little over a minute and a half. Okay.
But yeah, I will say Harry Potter is iconic as hell. I think that it also, I don't know about it super well. I have a cursory summation of the series.
Mm-hmm.
I could talk about some things, but then if somebody who actually was a big fan pressed me, I'm failing that lie detector test, bro.
That's fair. Yeah. No, that's probably, and I hear you. And at this point, I'm sufficiently swayed towards Skyrim, because I in terms of, okay, what's the first one? Lore building. Harry Potter does, yeah. I mean, it's a classic. It's a staple of the young adult genre. It's practically like mother's milk for millennials, but in terms of the actual world building, it is very creative. I'll say, and there are some clear flaws. A lot of those flaws go back to J.K. Rowling as a person, but they're doing different things. Skyrim's very much Tolkien-esque fantasy, and Harry Potter is in many ways urban fantasy. In terms of livability, part of the definition of urban fantasy is there is this hidden world which us muggles don't have access to.
Yeah.
So in terms of livability, I guess it's about as livable as this one, unless you're a wizard, then you're dying. Voldemort is going to kill you or something.
Are we making the criteria for livability just survivability,
I mean,
your chance of survival?
Chance of survival, but also I think there is also an element of would it be fun? Are you surviving or are you living? In Harry Potter, you're living your average mundane life, and if you're a wizard, 90% of wizarding history, you're having fun. You just have a family, and magic is just a part of it.
Broski playing Quidditch in the backyard.
Yeah, you're growing up like the Weasleys. And then for a small chunk of wizarding history, there's an active terrorist organization that assaulted educational institutions, I guess. But aside from that, aside from that, we're chilling.
That's such a great summation.
It's true.
Yeah, you're chilling for the most part, except there's a terrorist organization is assaulting this school
for a solid 10 years.
Bro, there's a creepy guy with no nose.
Yeah. But yeah, it's for the average person, let's just say you're a part of the in-group. Let's just say you're a wizard. Chances are you have it pretty good. Unless you're Harry Potter and anyone related to him.
My point being, because we initially, or when we were mentioning the criteria, it talked about livability if you were the average person. And
yeah.
So I guess first of all that depends on what the average person in Harry Potter's world is. I'm guessing, as far as I'm aware, there are more non-wizards than wizards.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you're average, chances are you're not a wizard. And then livability,
I mean, we're alive.
It's just us.
But that being said, you mentioned Skyrim has a whole language that's a pretty conlangs or pretty constructed languages are I wouldn't say common, but definitely a part of the tradition of that Tolkien type of fantasy. Harry Potter rips off Latin, and it also does so poorly. So I don't know, it's creative, it's fun, everyone grew up with it. I also think everyone's attached to it, and now I get to roast the fan base. I think y'all took it a little too far. Everyone's oh, I'm a Hufflepuff. I am a Hufflepuff. But it's just it's one of those things, because it was so large culturally, it was gonna get cringe at some point.
Sure.
And it doesn't help that J.K. Rowling is also cringe, and it doesn't really have any steam past those initial books. The Cursed Child, it's not even canon. And I don't I remember liking it when I read it, but looking back on it, it wasn't that great, to be honest. The Fantastic Beasts movies have flopped terribly. Because there's nothing there. Like the Fantastic Beasts book in Harry Potter is a textbook. And they're like, let's make a movie about this guy. I'm like, okay, fine. So yeah, and what's the aesthetic wise? It's cool. It's not my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's definitely other worlds on this list where I'm like the aesthetic is just so clean.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm ready to move on and give Skyrim the win here if you are.
I will say, let's see. I give lore building. This is hard. I give lore building Skyrim for sure. Fan base, low-key.
To Skyrim?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Harry Potter fan base.
Aesthetic, I don't know. That's the thing.
It's hard, because Skyrim is
game.
very dingy and gray and like Viking, and at least Harry Potter has like color and vibrancy. Yeah. So I'll give it to Harry. I would give that to Harry Potter.
And so, influence, I'm not gonna lie, I would give to Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
And then in terms of livability, this is the tiebreaker.
I guess so.
And so it really depends on what we, because basically the stance I'm coming from is, if we're going from the opinion, like from what we established initially, which was like if you're the average person, and we want to just talk about it as survivability, I would probably give it to Harry Potter. Otherwise, if we are talking about like if you were the average person, what is like, you know, I guess your ability to like make it in the world, like to like
yeah.
Like, you know, to like if you wanted to go out on an adventure,
mm-hmm.
I would probably say Skyrim, because I feel like the I guess like you said, the wizarding world in Harry Potter is gate kept.
It's gate kept as fuck, and also, even if you are a wizard, chances are you grow up, you take an exam, and then you work a 9 to 5, bro. Yeah. Oh no. You're just doing it with magic now. It's like cool. You could work at a desk job or you could work at the Ministry of Magic. Either way, you're a slave to capitalism. So like,
as opposed to like Skyrim, where I feel like even if you are a random, like even if you were randomly born somewhere in Skyrim, like if you were to, you know, like whatever, go out and adventure, you could probably get to the point where you could compete like with the main character. And the reason I say that is because like, when you're playing as the main character, you go out into the world, and there's just ops that you encounter, bro, and they just be giving you hands, bro, and you're like, dude, I'm the Dragonborn, like, what are you
finally
doing?
Awake.
Yeah, so, like, bro, I think, yeah, so...
Wait, can you, like, when you edit this later, can you do the fade out?
Hey, you. You're finally awake. You were trying to cross the border, right? Walked right into that Imperial ambush, same as us, and that thief over there.
So you're finally awake.
Alright. So I will give it to Skyrim.
Yeah.
Closely.
Alright, we gotta pick up the pace on these. What's the next one?
So the next one is Avatar: The Last Airbender and Percy Jackson. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, this is so tough.
Alright, well.
Okay, I got my answer though. 3, 2, 1. Avatar: The Last Airbender. Easy. Or maybe not easy,
I'm
but
sorry,
like,
Rick. In terms of lore building,
it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. I think Avatar just takes the cake.
In terms of livability, I think I would make the same argument for Skyrim that I did for Avatar.
I could see that.
If you are the average person, you can, like...
Is the average person a bender or a non-bender? They always leave it pretty ambiguous. I think there's like... I think benders are in the minority, but not by like that much, right?
Sure. Honestly, they might.
Yeah, probably like a Google search away. But I mean, yeah, in Percy Jackson, once again, it's an urban fantasy setting, meaning that there is this hidden world that is gate kept, and like, you know, a hero has to cross a threshold to enter. And like, if you're
estimated 30%.
If you're in the okay, that's what I figured. If you're in the Percy Jackson universe and you're an average person, chances are you're a human. So yeah, like survivability, you just go about your daily life. But if you're a demigod, your survivability is actually worse. It's like the inverse of Harry Potter, or like most of these other things we talk about, because demigods are like actively hunted by monsters and they need to like seek out Camp Half-Blood for safety.
Well, do you think I feel like if you're a wizard, your chances of survivability are lower.
You think so?
There'll just be ops like Draco Malfoy if you try to kill you.
Okay, but it's like, but that's not like a natural threat. Like that, like in Percy Jackson, your scent is immediately picked up by monsters.
Yeah.
But if you're a wizard, chances are you're born into a wizarding family.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could be like Hermione, who just didn't know she like was a wizard until like she got her letter. So like, yeah, like I guess your main threat in Harry Potter are usually like the human beings. Like
I'm thinking
enemies.
if you're a this sounds so. If you're a Muggle.
I want to say that usually they prefer the soft L, bro.
If you are not a wizard, I feel like you're like what like what's your threat? Like a mugger? Like on the street? Like I mean that sincerely.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Like you're about as prone to like danger as like well I mean I guess it depends on where you live because look, that's another thing. Bro. That's another thing, bro. They don't talk about like the wizards in Africa and shit, dude. Like it's always the wizards in Europe, bro. Like it's a different story. Like
I mean that's J.K. Rowling, bro. She's like, dang, I need an Asian character, bro. What do I name her? Cho Chang. What house do I put her in? Ravenclaw. She wasn't right for that one. I'm not gonna lie.
Anyway, but yeah, Percy Jackson.
Percy Jackson livability. It's ostensibly worse than Avatar because Avatar you could be a bender or you could be a non-bender, and I mean Avatar.
You're not living in the Fire Nation.
Yeah, I mean, but like if you're living in the Fire Nation, you are fine. Like yes, it would be like living under an empire, but. Like, do you remember that episode from season 3 where they stopped by at that school?
Yes.
So
yeah.
They're doing fine. Most Fire Nation village people are, and like even before the Fire Nation became imperialist, even before the reign of Fire Lord Sozin, everyone's like mostly got along. Like, if you want to get into like the extended lore, then like no, but like yeah, Kyoshi was up to stuff. Like every Avatar had to deal with something, but like for the most part, things were fine. Yeah. So livability goes to Avatar. Fan base. They're about equal in my mind. Like yeah, I got into both of them very early in elementary school, so I'm like clearly biased, but neither of them seem overtly cringy.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess they're about tied there.
Yeah. We can come back to it. Mm-hmm. Aesthetic.
Oh. I think Avatar has Percy Jackson cooked in aesthetic.
I was going to say, yeah. And influence. That's hard.
That's a hard one. Both of them have live action adaptations, though Percy Jackson
was better.
Both of them have bad live action adaptations.
Sure. Yeah.
Though Percy Jackson was better. Percy Jackson's getting a TV show.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Avatar is
coming back.
Also coming back though.
Yeah, and aren't they also getting a live action? They're redoing it.
Are they? They're getting a live action TV show as well. I don't know how confident I am in that, but I'm not. They dropped pictures for it the other day, like a first look type thing. Mm-hmm. It doesn't look like it looks pretty good. Mm-hmm. Whether it is good or not, I could debate that, but that's another topic. I really do wonder which one has more broad appeal.
That's a good question. I feel like Loki. the bracket cooked us with this one.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? I will. So here's one argument that I wasn't sure if I wanted to make before, but may give Avatar the win is like, in terms of lore building, you could make the argument that Avatar is more original in terms of lore building because Percy Jackson was based on Greek mythology.
Sure.
And I mean, I don't know if like I don't.
Like, yes, Rick did a lot of creative things on top of that, but he had a foundation to build on top of.
Whereas
Avatar synthesized a lot of different cultures and then came up with something completely new on top of that. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Avatar wins.
Yeah, sorry to my Percy Jackson dudes. Honestly, if it was up against something else, I would have gone Percy Jackson, but Avatar is just too good. What's up next, Chief?
DC and Lord of the Rings.
Oh, that's crazy. That's a tough one.
Similar to the first round, I am not knowledgeable. I'm not super knowledgeable on Lord of the Rings.
I'm knowledgeable enough to make this a tough decision.
Okay.
Okay, so 3, 2, 1, Lord of the Rings. I said that mainly so that we have an opportunity to talk it out.
For sure.
So by virtue of not like primarily being a video game franchise, it is different from Skyrim in that respect.
Mm-hmm.
But I think every argument you made for Skyrim can be made, in terms of lore building, can be made even stronger about Lord of the Rings.
I can see that.
Because Tolkien just, like, went nuts. Mm-hmm. Like, my man came up with a language and then came up with an entire lore system to explain how that language evolved. Mm-hmm. And you can see the two dialects of Elven evolving linguistically throughout, like, all the various pieces of lore that he wrote. And, like, Lord of the Rings is, like, here in terms of, like, the history of Middle-earth that he created. Mm-hmm. So, like, yeah, dude went, like, is the prototypical example of, like, someone who went nuts on lore building and set the example for, like, so much modern fantasy.
Yeah. And
so, yeah.
As far as, he's not done, is he?
Tolkien?
Yeah.
Dude's dead.
Oh, wait. I'm thinking of Martin.
Oh, yeah, George Martin. Yeah. I mean, but, like, similarly, like, you can't have things like Skyrim and like, Game of Thrones without a little bit of that Lord of the Ring influence.
That's facts, bro.
Just because so much modern fantasy. Like, Tolkien would use the word dwarves instead of dwarfs when referring to, like, that race, and the editors would be like, no, it's dwarfs, and he's like, no, it's dwarves, and he had to, like, go back and, like, correct every manuscript. So dude basically, like, added that word to the English language. Mm-hmm. He was an absolute mad lad. In terms of livability, once again, for most of Middle-earth's history, you're chilling. There's always bad stuff going around, but, like, as long as you don't walk into Mordor, you could live a very peaceful life as,
I'm not gonna lie,
a hobbit or something.
I'm ending this argument right now. I'm giving livability to Lord of the Rings, bro. If I lived in the DC universe and I kept getting my ass reset every, like, in a couple of years, bro, I'd be pissed. Can you imagine, bro? Oh, fuck it. Crisis on Infinite Earths. Just, like, gone, bro.
The
like,
entire planet's just getting destroyed. And you're like, come on, bro.
Like, Superman, help. Bro.
Me, when I got my AirPods in, I'm, like, in Gotham's, like, I go to Gotham University, and I'm like, oh, no one's coming. It's a red light. I'm just gonna jaywalk here. It's like the fucking bat descends upon.
You just jaywalk. Have you seen those TikToks?
Yeah.
Bro, man. Like, my favorite one's the one where the guy uses the handicapped bathroom, and he's like, "Oh, you're about to be handicapped." He, like, beats him.
Yeah. So livability goes to Lord of the Rings.
I'm giving livability to Lord of the Rings, bro, because, like, bro, and they literally did a story where they displaced Batman in time, and bro had to, like, make his way back to the present day, and there was still fuck shit in the past, bro. Like, you can't escape it. Like, Broski was getting pressed everywhere he went. Like, nah, bro.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Fan base.
That was a good quote. I wouldn't know.
I feel like Lord of the Rings is one of those things where there's like very few people in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
From what I can tell, like, I'm like, I like Lord of the Rings, but I haven't read any of the, like, I got halfway through Fellowship and then I called it a day. Like, I've seen the movies. The movies are awesome. The Hobbit movies are less awesome. And, like, I've seen YouTube recaps of the history of Middle-earth, but I'm not, like, deep. Like, I'm not deep in it. Like, there's very few people who, like are attached to Lord of the Rings in, like, a very middling stance. You're either, like, not attached, or you're, like, all in, and you just, like, know the stuff. So, sorry for the weird audio break. In that respect, I will say that Lord of the Rings fan base is, like, small but mighty. Mm-hmm. DC, or I guess we haven't really gotten into the debate part of it, but just, like, getting into it a little. DC just has much broader appeal, especially in, like, today's era, like, today's day and age. We're living kind of in a superhero world right now. Mm-hmm. And, like, yeah. Lastly, aesthetic.
Aesthetic, I give to DC. I'm like,
yeah, no, I would agree. I think, like, Lord of the Rings has, like, a cool aesthetic, but it's also, like, fantasy aesthetic.
Yeah, the other reason I say DC is because I feel like this is more due to the nature of, like, I guess the breadth of their characters, like, you know, Superman being the embodiment of hope, and, like, yeah, like, each character I feel like has their own kind of aesthetic that comes with them, and so I feel like you get a broader range of.
And that's not even to talk about, like, Elseworlds and, like, the influence that certain comic book artists and writers' runs can have on the aesthetic of a character. So yeah, in terms of just, like, not only aesthetic, but specifically diversity of aesthetic, like, DC takes the cake just by nature of how different it is from Lord of the Rings. What's the last one?
Influence.
DC. I think, yeah, it would have to go to DC.
What's your? I mean, I'm not saying no. What's your argument?
At least in our time, like, I would argue that, like, you would be clowned upon less for being like, I know everything about, like, Batman. Dudes will be like, oh, that's cool. Like, Batman's cool. But if you're like, I know everything that happened in the Silmarillion, people are like, the what? So, yeah. I think that's the case right there.
Fair. I don't know. The only thing is, because, you know, you mentioned it earlier about how Lord of the Rings has kind of influenced a lot of fantasy.
Oh, that's true.
And so, like, but at the same time, this is why I think it's hard. DC has influenced a lot of what, you know, because, you know, we've talked about this on previous episodes, sort of the differences between DC and Marvel, and how a lot of DC is, like, the superheroes are meant to embody, like, the pinnacle of, like, you know, of, like, a certain thing. So, like, Superman is of hope and of justice, and Batman is of justice, but I feel like a different kind of justice. Bro's about vengeance.
Boom, 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 boom.
Quick tangent. Hit us up on the contact page, and please let me know if you think I'm brooding, because I've been told. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't be posting.
Chill.
But because I've been told, I've been compared to Batman on occasion.
Wait, that's Spider-Man.
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
That's Spider-Man. What's the Batman noise? There used to be a Batman. Yeah, I guess it's the one from the Michael Giacchino thing, from the bum 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 bum.
Oh, that's the recent one. No,
that's the recent one. But there's an old one too. Yeah, it's from Tim Burton, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're giving aesthetic to DC. We're giving influence. That influence is hard.
Yeah. Because, like, you wouldn't have modern fantasy without Tolkien.
I think I'm gonna give it to DC, and honestly, I purely say that just because of Superman. Like, I feel like these Superman, the symbol, the like, bro, like
The Ubermensch.
It's global.
Yeah.
And like, you know, like in countries like, you know, when I've gone to visit Cuba, like they got bootleg DC movies, but they ain't reading Lord of the Rings. And so I don't know. I think influence I'll give to DC, aesthetic to DC, livability we get to Lord of the Rings, lore building to Lord of the Rings, fan base. It's a tiebreaker.
Yeah, well, lore building is one of those things where, like, yes, Tolkien went hard, and I'd only give it to him because he was one dude and he came up with this entire corpus of literature.
Look, man, all I'm saying is if you're making dialects, bro, I feel like I kind of got to give that one to
Yeah.
you. Like,
but it's very different how these things developed. One developed between, like, you know, they'd be handed down from generation and writer to writer and comic book to comic book run, from the golden age through the silver age. And, like, that's how those worlds got developed. Which is a lot more, like, organic and less, like, constructed, I'd argue, than, like, Tolkien. But either way, Tolkien went hard. Like, yeah, it was like, he was the go. Ooh, fan base, DC fan base is just bigger. You know, and maybe that's a result of its influence, or the cause of its influence, but either way, yeah. I'll also say let's keep DC in there for now, because I feel like we already got Skyrim, for the fantasy stuff. So yeah, let's give it to DC. I guess.
I'm sorry to.
I'm sorry, little one.
Yeah. Damn, why is it doing me dirty? There we go. Okay. Marvel and Star Wars.
No. This is also a tough one.
I'm not gonna lie, this is what I meant by the bracket did us dirty with the shuffle, bro. They said, hey, yo.
They were giving us the toughest decisions first. Actually, it's only gonna get harder from here. And we also gotta speed up, I assume. Yeah, a little press for time, so...
The hardest choices require the strongest
3,
wills.
2, 1. Marvel. Okay, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, Star Wars has flopped with their recent installments.
But so has Marvel, to be honest.
With what?
Secret Invasion.
But... Yes. Okay, but I say that because... That's the MCU.
Yeah.
Marvel Comics.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there was the original 6 Star Wars movies, and I feel like...
I mean, original 3.
Well, original 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I guess, you know, it became
the Christmas
6.
special.
Yeah. And I think that this is not necessarily George Lucas's fault, but I feel like Disney has shattered a lot of the quality of the lore building that was once there.
Mm-hmm.
Palpatine, bro, came back.
Somehow.
How?
Somehow he
like,
came back.
Bro, they like...
That's the only explanation
dude,
they
offer. Fumbled their lore. And like I said, it's not George Lucas's fault. Bro made a bag. I respect it,
And
bro.
it doesn't even fumble their lore. It undercuts all of the first 6 movies.
Yeah.
As if you choose to view them as the story of Anakin Skywalker, this tragic, like, chosen one hero who was supposed to restore balance to the Force, and he did by making the ultimate sacrifice. And then somehow Palpatine came in. Come on, bro. Come on. But yeah, like, lore building, similar to the DC thing. Marvel had, started as comics and then passed from run to run. And, the 3 most recognized heroes from what I remember, at least back before 2008. Now I don't know what it is, but I'm sure it's still largely the same. Superman, Batman, Spider-Man.
Yep.
I mean, Spider-Man's the GOAT. Like, come on, like, if you've been listening to the show long enough, you know how we feel about our boy.
I mean, if you look at what superheroes had movies, Superman, Batman, Spider-Man.
Yeah. Or at least, like, big movies. But anyway.
Well, I mean, the 1970s Superman.
70s Superman.
Batman
all
had,
the different Batman movies.
And Spider-Man had 2002.
2002 Raimi stuff. And I mean, like, sure, like, X-Men, Blade,
but
terrible Electro movie. But, like...
Yeah. No, but it wasn't the same.
It wasn't really the same.
I would give lore building to Marvel. I think if we're looking at how things are now.
I'll once again say it's like, sure, I would agree, but it's also different. Because a large part of the lore, at least for the beginning bit, was all, like, Lucas. Or not, like, all Lucas, but, like, you know, it was helmed by him. It was his world, like, he kind of crafted it. And it is really hard to understate how much of a cultural phenomenon
for sure.
those Star Wars movies, especially when they first dropped, were. And the creativity that went into them, like the sheer just movie-making genius. And all the while, Marvel was doing the same thing for the comic book industry. So it's really hard to, like... It does feel like comparing apples to oranges a little bit. But in sheer world building, the Marvel world is just bigger. Sure, Star Wars, like, if you want to dive deep into the extended universe canon, you can find all sorts of stuff about our galaxy far, far away. But I'd say, like, maybe this is unfair because we haven't used this metric before. But, like, if you asked an average person how much they know about Star Wars, they're not going to know about, like, Darth Nihilus. They're going to know about, like, Vader.
The tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise.
It's not a tale that the Jedi would tell. You see, Darth Plagueis was... I'm gonna stop myself before I get any further. But if you ask the average person what they know about Marvel, I'm sure... And this is a consequence of the MCU, for sure. Before 2008, completely different story. But you'd be able to name, like, a whole cast of heroes, like, different corners and pockets of the Marvel universe if you've been paying attention to this sort of thing. So, yeah, it's hard, but it really does, once again, come against, like, one person engineering the world building, like the previous battle, one person versus this organic sort of thing that grew over time.
Yeah, I think for me, again, the argument is just like, when looking at the lore building as a whole, I feel like a lot of the recent stuff has, unfortunately, like, it's kind of undercut, as you said, a lot of what had been initially established, and I feel like that's kind of, at least for me, ouch.
But you can make the same argument about, like, One More Day or, like, any one of those comic book runs that, like, suck. So, yeah, it's a hard decision. But for now, let's say Marvel and move on. Likability, or not likability, livability. I'm not going to lie, that's going to Star Wars for me.
For real?
Yeah.
Under the Empire, bro?
Under the Empire, you're subjugated, but you're still, like...
Bro said Fire Nation type beat.
Yeah,
like, it's chill.
Like, I mean, it's probably worse than living under the Fire Nation, because the Empire, like, you would be living in, like, it would be like living in the Earth Kingdom under the Fire Nation rather than, like, living in the Fire Nation. Like, yes, it sucks, but it's better than, like, you walk out and, like, you're just home, like, fucking disintegrates. Like, Tony Stark's like, my bad, bro. Like,
you walk out your house, bro. You just dust, bro. Brisky died. That's crazy.
Hey, Mom, how's it? Aw, man.
Fair enough. Okay. Sure. Fan base?
That's a tough one.
Marvel.
You think so?
Yeah.
In terms of who's less cringe?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I can see that. I can see
and
that.
one thing that I will say.
Yeah.
This honestly, I'm about to hit you with this wombo combo. In terms of Marvel sweeps, bro. In terms of aesthetic and influence, I'm gonna spit facts right here.
Mm-hmm.
All I gotta say is one word: diversity.
Yeah.
I feel like in recent years, Marvel has honestly, I was thinking about this when we were talking about DC earlier, because when we think about these heroes for DC and who they embody, bro, they're all Batman, white guy, Superman, white guy, Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's white. You can't tell me otherwise. Bro, Flash, white. They had the black Wally West for a little bit,
but they also got the white Wally West.
They also got the white Wally West, and so and for with Marvel, right? Sure, you could. Yeah, you could probably go through a lot of the heroes and make the same argument, but I think that they have taken a lot of their characters of color and really given them a spotlight in some regard, and I think that it's like Miles Morales is now
Kamala Khan. We just cooked. No, but Storm, Silk, Simu, Shang-Chi, we could. If we actually sat here and thought about it, I'm sure we'd be able to come up more off the top of our head.
And so I feel like in terms of fan base, I'll come back to fan base. I think in terms of aesthetic, in my opinion, similar to what we said about DC, particularly for Marvel, I think. Pardon me, sorry, it's ratty food.
Oh man.
I think Marvel has a lot more of a sort of diversity in terms of aesthetic. That you can draw from. I think I'm not gonna lie, I've low-key been embodying the Miles Morales thing lately, bro. In the last since Into the Spider-Verse dropped, and moving on to influence, I think Marvel, I would argue, but obviously I'm speaking as a minority. I'm not gonna lie, I'm speaking as a person of color, but I think Marvel is more influential.
Yeah. It depends on when in the cultural zeitgeist you want to look at.
Sure.
Because in the 80s, I think Marvel was very present, but it was, at least among certain communities, but it was still getting bodied by Star Wars in terms of just cultural relevance.
Well, they dropped Secret Wars in the 80s.
That's true, but if you think about
Black Suit Spider-Man.
Black Suit Spider-Man. But who was reading Secret Wars? It was the nerds.
Same people were watching Star Wars.
I mean, same people were watching, but more people were watching Star Wars.
Fair.
The people reading Marvel were probably the same people listening to Metallica, there was a decent amount of cultural backlash against the devil. So, yeah, it's I don't know, I might just be speaking out of my ass here, but at least back then, it seems like Star Wars just had much broader appeal. But now, completely different story. As you mentioned, Star Wars, both of them have fallen off post-Disney, but Marvel took a lot longer to fall off, and also still hasn't completely fallen off. I think it is possible for Disney to still turn the Marvel ship around if they play things right.
Yeah.
That being said, who knows whether that's going to happen. But for Star Wars,
we still have Spider-Verse.
True. And yeah, Sony, completely revolutionized animation with those movies.
And Spider-Man, I feel like Marvel and other media is still thriving. I feel debatable, but Spider-Man games, Spider-Man 2 are just coming out in
Star Wars had Fallen Order, but that was a while ago.
No, the recent one came out this year.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah. Was that any good?
It was fire.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Star Wars is doing, low-key also doing great in other media. Star Wars Visions was that anime project that they did. That shit looks sick. From a purely animation standpoint, it looks cool. The Vader comics, they just go hard. Vader just goes hard. Yeah. And there's a bunch of novels too. Yeah. But anyways.
Okay, so we gave Marvel aesthetic. I would give it fan base.
I would too.
livability we give to Star Wars. Lore building we get
Marvel.
I would argue Marvel.
Yeah, Marvel already won
And
that.
influence can go either way, but I can see what you're saying about Star Wars.
It's just hard because they're like both very similar.
Mm-hmm.
They're like equal and opposite forces in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And it really does just depend on the year. But yeah, we're probably gonna run out of time soon. So let's speed run these last three.
Well, I mean, the thing about Bracket Brawls is a lot of the time, once we make the arguments for one,
yeah,
it comes back around. So Skyrim and Avatar: The Last Airbender.
3, 2, 1, Avatar. That's fair.
No, I am a huge, massive fan of Skyrim. I have voiced my sheer excitement, sheer and utter excitement, delight, joy, yippee, hooray, hooray,
Hooray!
for the Elder Scrolls 6.
Happy, happy, happy.
Bro. For the Elder Scrolls 6. Although, sort of how you, similar to how you foreshadowed on the episode 45, Work Hard, Play Hard, go check it out. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if Bethesda gonna be cooking like that, bro. I heard that their recent game Starfield, which came out in September, is kind of lacking.
Oh.
I hear that it's very like expansive in terms of things you can do, but apparently a lot of the characters don't really have depth to them, and like I don't know, like apparently it just gets old and stuff. And so Bethesda has been fumbling game after game since I want to say like mid 2010s.
Yeah.
And it's been a tragedy. And now my beloved Elder Scrolls 6, I don't know, I fear. But in terms of like, I'm just gonna be honest, like livability I'm giving to Avatar, aesthetic I'm giving to Avatar.
Lore building I'd give to Avatar as well.
Lore building.
It's a little fuzzier, but I would give it to Avatar.
That's fair. I would give lore building to Skyrim. I would give livability, aesthetic, influence, and probably fan based Avatar.
Yeah.
But lore building, I'll stick with Skyrim for that.
That's fair.
No debate.
No
Bro
debate.
said, make that quick. Oh boy, oh boy.
Come on!
Marvel and DC.
This could be a whole episode. And in fact, we probably talked about this on previous episodes.
I know where I stand.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1, Marvel. Yeah.
I mean, feel like we have definitely had this conversation.
Well-trodden territory on the show at this point.
Yeah.
But in terms of the criteria.
Lore building, I'm not gonna lie, I'll give to DC. Admittedly.
Interesting.
Yeah,
that's fair. I mean, they were also first in the game, if you think about it. That Superman 1 comic came out before Marvel got their footing, so...
Livability, Marvel. Because all the arguments you made about DC, you can make with... I mean, all those arguments you made about Marvel, you can make with DC. About, like, Tony Stark, like, flying outside your house and, like, oh, my bad, bro. Like...
Yeah, true, bro.
Like...
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I'd rather have Tony Stark destroy my house than get, like, kidnapped by the Joker or, like, hit with some Joker toxin or, like...
Yeah, but also, imagine you're chilling, and then an alternate version of Earth just...
I mean, like, yeah, low-key, but, like... It's all fun and games until Doomsday step up in your hood, bro, and then what are you gonna do? Like, at least the Earth incursion's quick.
Yeah, that's
relatively.
Fair. That's fair.
Like, bro, the whole point of Batman v Superman was it's all fun and games until Superman's flying through your city, bro. Like,
they're equally unlivable universes, and it's funny because the whole point of having superheroes is to save people.
But, dude, honestly, I think Joker on his own makes me like DC averse, bro. Like, I'm good, man.
Yeah, bro.
Like, I would never leave my house. Like, all the like literally being raised in like the household I was, bro. Like, I'd be like lock my doors every night, lock the windows. I'm not leaving my house, bro.
Like, bro, you living in Gotham or Central City?
Bro, I mean, low-key, I mean, I'm not, well, I mean, if we're saying, like, do we get a choice is what I'm trying to say.
That's fair.
Yeah. Because, broski, if I had to choose, yeah, sure, I'm living in Central City, but they're like, bro, it's all fun and games until I end up in Gotham, bro. I'm not gonna lie, like, we're melanated individuals, bro. Luck of the draw, man. Like, statistically proven, we're ending up in Gotham.
It's tough.
So, livability I'm giving to Marvel. Fan base I'm giving to Marvel. I'm not gonna lie, I'm DC.
You want to say that a little louder?
I said the fan base I'm giving to Marvel. Y'all are delusional over there in DC land. Bro really thinks Batman can beat T'Challa.
Come on.
Shit, bro.
Prep
time. What do you got prep time? Yeah, okay, bro.
Shit.
Aesthetic.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
That is a tough one. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I low-key think DC could win this.
Yeah.
I think, I'm not gonna lie.
If we go category by category, they might.
Yeah, I give influence to DC. I can't bullshit. Lore building I gave to DC. Although...
It's a tough call.
Yeah, I feel like I have to give lore building to DC. Livability to Marvel.
I mean,
fan base
what would...
Comes down to aesthetic, which low-key...
It's just so hard, because the aesthetic just...
I'll take it back.
The aesthetic just so different, depending on what character you're looking at, what pocket of each universe you look at.
But like, I go back to my argument before. I think diversity, really, for aesthetic, in terms of aesthetic. I think diversity pushes Marvel ahead.
Yeah, that's fair. In
my opinion.
Yeah. I've never wanted to, like, actively wear... Like my argument would be, like, when I was a kid, like, sure, everyone wants, like, Superman powers, but, like, no one wants to, like, be Superman, but I wanted to be Spider-Man so hard.
Well, yeah, but also in terms of aesthetic, I also mean, like, wallpapers. So, like, one of the things, like, I would always give, like, Avatar aesthetic, low-key, is because, like, bro, like, for example, like, some phone wallpaper, like, some Avatar art that you can, like, get, bro, so clean.
Yeah.
Like...
It's true.
And so I think, like, in terms of aesthetic, like, what you would find on as somebody's wallpaper, computer background, what
posters,
shirts they're wearing, I think as of right now, but obviously it's kind of recent, but I would give it to Marvel.
Yeah, for Spider-Verse alone.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. All right. And now for the final. Avatar versus Marvel.
That's crazy.
That's
crazy.
All right. 3, 2.
Bro, wait, hold on.
I know where I stand.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Marvel.
Avatar. I knew this was gonna. It was gonna come down to this one.
I'm not confident about my answer though.
Oh.
Because I think. Lore building I give to Avatar.
Hands down.
I think only because, and this is kind of what you said earlier, due to the nature of, like, comics being something that's passed between, comic book author to author, it has a more consistent story. I think the lore is more cohesive. Livability, Avatar. Fan base, Avatar. Because comic book motherfuckers are sweaty.
Yeah, it's true.
Aesthetic, Avatar.
Yeah, man. Search your feelings. To be true.
I don't know. I'm not gonna lie, because Miles by himself for me.
Okay, that's fair.
Pushes but I can acknowledge. I will say Avatar, because removing myself from my bias, I can acknowledge that Avatar.
So clean.
Avatar takes it. Influence, I'd give to Marvel.
Yeah. But yeah, no, like, from a broader sense, we love, like, I mean, like these are all tough decisions. Any one of them could have come out on top today. Yeah, I mean, I'm also super biased towards Avatar. I'm not gonna pretend that that I haven't been watching it since I was like 5.
No, yeah, me too. I remember I used to have this little like toy of like Aang.
Yeah,
it was, like, on a ball, and you would like, you know the little like trucks that you would like wind up against the ground.
Yes,
yeah, you would like. It was like he was on his little like air sphere, and you would like I forgot actually I think it was like I think it was a top. You like rip it. It was kind of like a Beyblade, and it would just like spin.
That's sick.
And he would like I don't know, but like it's like I only bring that up to say that me too. I've been consuming Avatar content since I was young, and during the pandemic, I'm sure like it dropped on Netflix and everybody and their mom was watching it. I remember like in high school we had like group chats that like, yo, like where in Avatar you at? Oh my god, like we're just like
I'll also say like Avatar, if you want to talk like diversity, like very very like deeply rooted in real world cultures that it's inspired by, and it doesn't shy away from them at all. Yeah, it's just one of those like goated TV shows like across the board. Like every now and then Avatar fans will think that Avatar invented the universe, and they're like, oh my god, like you see in like frame 790, 420 of this episode, like there's like a single frame that symbolizes and represents Aang and Zuko's friendship. I'm like, okay, no, that's just a twig. That's a stick. Like, that's not symbolism. That's just like something in the background. But and like I remember I was talking to a friend who was like, maybe the reason Avatar is so fondly remembered, maybe now even more so than 20 years ago when it was like about to start its run, is because it was the first like media a lot of us consumed with a cohesive plot and like a complex plot at that didn't talk down towards its audience. I'm like, you got a point, but also it's goated and well written, so like Avatar is just one of those things where it's like all ages can truly enjoy it. Like the messages it spread. But
the one true contender to leave you guys on a bit of a bracket brawls cliffhanger for Avatar is Loki, Pokemon.
Really?
I think so, but
interesting.
That may not be for this episode.
Yeah, that maybe not for this episode.
Got him. But first, before Pokemon can take on Avatar: The Last Airbender, it must defeat Bakugan.
Goku.
I'm gonna say Bakugan Battle Brawlers, bro. Which we have talked about just like in the history of like our friendship. Just like, bro, slept on show. The theme, bro. Two worlds collide on the inside. This is Bakugan, bro. They were spinning the studio like that. Made them out the hood. That got them out the hood.
I had like a big floor 500-piece puzzle of Bakugan, bro. Like the OG Bakugan.
Dude, I had the cards. I would stick the little Bakugan and everything, dude.
Yeah,
they have a little magnet.
Like Dragonite, I choose you.
On like little like on the
what's
TV.
His name? Dragonite.
Draco.
I don't
Draco.
remember.
Wait. Oh my god.
I don't even remember anymore.
No, we're gonna look this up.
But I saw this TikTok the other day where it's like,
Drago. It was
it's like Drago.
Dragonoid.
Dragonoid, I choose you. And it's like whatever, like, and then like this other guy throws out a hair clip. Yeah. He's like, the 2008 financial crisis affected my family. I'm like, oh man.
Dude, you know what's crazy? I had like
low-key, if this shit didn't hit in 2008, it probably would have lasted longer.
Yeah. You know what I was gonna say? This is a complete like side note, and we'll wrap it up after this. But I had like a big like I'm talking like about like the length of like the mic, or like how it was as long as the mic is tall, like model of like Dragonoid, and it would like.
The one that's modular and it would like go in like different.
Yeah,
yeah.
and it would, like,
I had that
compress,
one too.
And then you put the Bakugan on it, and it like.
Yeah, or I didn't have that one. I had the
Okay.
one that was made by like a bunch of different Bakugan, and so like they're all separate and individual. But then when you put them all together, you get like a Dragonoid.
Okay, I feel like. Yes. No. Yeah. Okay, I think it's the same thing.
Is that the same thing?
But I think I would like you. I feel like if you had like the regular like the little Dragonoid Bakugan, you could like put him on like the back.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That was the shit, man. I'm not gonna lie, that shit.
I thought that was the coolest thing as a kid. But anyway.
Anyways,
we're out of time, but thank you so much. We hope you enjoyed the episode.
Let's take him out. You've been listening to 101.1 FM, WOPP IP, WDRV IP, WALE IP Providence.
You guys can find us at www.theoutapocketpodcast.com, and Outta is spelled Outta. And through there you can find our Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Instagram. Go check us out on all those platforms.
Hit us up on the contact page. Let us know if Allah is brooding or not. And once again, thank you all so much for sticking with us through all these episodes. We'll catch you next week. And speaking of theme songs, mysteries abound within a deep energy.
Energy
Flows all around, but I will come set you free. You could like fade this out, right? Yeah.
Wait, but I have to do my. Catch you guys later. Take care. I give you strength. You give me love. That's how we'll live.
So we'll die. When you're with me, our enemies will never win.